Whether you're on holiday somewhere hot with an outdoor pool or lucky enough to have access to one closer to home, shooting underwater photos of your kids can result in some great action portraits. And in this video, I'm going to explain how it's done. I'm making use of a friend's outdoor pool for our shoot here. My young subject is learning to swim and loves to go underwater, so my plan is to capture him in action with my DSLR. Using a DSLR underwater is easier than you might think. I have an Ewa Marine underwater housing for my camera. Soft waterproof bags like this allow you to control the camera through the plastic, and although a bit fiddly, they're much more affordable than dedicated hard underwater housing cases. Of course, there are lots of other options for underwater photography too, from GoPros to waterproof smartphones. However, with a DSLR, we can get higher image quality, more precise focusing, and better low light performance, which can be very handy in dim underwater conditions. Dunking our expensive cameras underwater can be nerve-wracking, so it's a good idea to check the housing is sound every time we use it. Before putting the camera in, we try a little tissue paper, then seal it up and submerge the bag. If the tissue comes out dry, then we're good to go. The camera slots into the bag and the lens sits in a cylindrical section at the front. The lens can easily slip out of alignment with the front of the cylinder, so I need to hold it tight in place while shooting. Underwater casings tend to fog up, so a silica gel pouch alongside the camera in the bag is a good idea. It can be a bit fiddly controlling the buttons and dials through the bag, so it's best to get all of our settings sorted before we submerge the camera. We want to ensure a shutter speed of around 1/500th of a second to prevent motion blur. I've got my aperture set to f11, which should give me enough depth of field to work with, especially as precise focusing underwater can be tricky. My ISO is set to auto, so it adapts to the conditions. On a bright day like this, it varies between 100 and 400 ISO. Shooting during a bright sunny day, the light bounces around the walls and floor of the pool for simple, even portrait lighting. It helps if the pool isn't too deep, as this not only allows light to bounce off the floor, but also means we don't have to tread water while shooting. If you like, you can try supplementing the daylight with some lights of your own. These are Lume Cubes, and helpfully they're fully waterproof. Even during a bright day, conditions can be dim underwater, so a little extra artificial lighting can really help to lift our portraits by filling in the subject's face. With kids, one of the biggest challenges is capturing a happy expression under the water. Closed eyes, puffed cheeks and uncomfortable expressions can ruin any portrait. As such, ask the subject to try and look happy or pull a funny face while under the water. A few simple items like sunglasses or hats can add character to the portrait, as well as a splash of colour. We also brought along a selection of toys and props to use on our shoot. Anything like this can help to add an extra level of interest to our portraits. Underwater portraits can be wonderfully vibrant. There's the rich blue tones, shimmering bubbles and eye-catching reflections on the surface, and then there's the dynamic weightless poses made possible by the water. After capturing an array of jumps, splashes, close-ups and action shots, it was time to give our lungs a well-earned rest, crack open the aftersun and pick our favourite shots from the day.